Okay, so I want to cover some accompaniment styles as well, and we're going to deal with not only voicings but also rhythm, and not only inner voices but also bass lines. So I'm going to cover a lot of those in this video, and then in the example videos you'll be able to recognize hopefully some of these. So first of all, let's talk about again the difference between songs that are based on triads and songs that are based on bigger chords than triads, let's say jazz tunes. So remember that if it's triadic, we can always use root, third, or fifth to accompany. But if it's jazz tunes, we can use the third and the seventh. Or in some cases, when a chord is like a six, you'll use the six instead of the seven. So I'm going to take just a simple example of third and seventh. And this will be, let me see here. Well, let's just talk about on a swing tune that we can do third and seventh on a tune. So let's see here. Doesn't really matter what tune, but it'll just have, we can do it strumming, third and seventh, or we could do that here, or we could do it here. And that's just, I'm just going between a D minor 7 and a G7, but you might not recognize that because I'm only playing the third and seventh. Now, if I did the same thing with triple stop voicings, I would use the root, third, and seventh, which might be something like this. That's D, F, C, which is D minor 7, to G, F, B, which is G7. So, or we could do it here. Or here. Well, that doesn't really work, does it? Anyway, so those are some swing styles in terms of swing, in terms of using the voicings third and seventh or root third and seventh. Now let's talk about the same approach if it was in the bass. So if it was in the bass line, then if we had that same swing feel, that we could just play root to root. So or if it was twice as slow, like if it was like D minor 7 to G7, if it was that progression, then we could play root fifth, so D minor, G7, D minor, G7, that kind of thing. That's a two feel bass line. But we could also do a walking feel bass line. And for a walking feel bass line, my best suggestion on this is just that you play the root of the chord on the downbeat, and then you figure it out and try to get to the root of the chord on the next downbeat. So for example, D minor 7, G, D minor 7, G7. So that's example of walking bass line, 4 beats on D minor, 4 beats on G7. These are all, again, bass playing or inner voice playing on swing tunes. Now let's look at a Latin feel. So for the rhythmic component of this, let's just deal with the rhythmic component first of all. On a bossa nova or a samba, there's a simple clave called 2-3-2. And so it's like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, un, dos, tres, un, dos. And what'll help you is if you think about down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down. So for example, the Stevie Wonder tune that I do, it's not exactly a bossa, but it has some components of this. And so you could do this here, well, going back to that same progression, D minor 7 to G7. Or you could do it here, which is probably where I'd recommend it. Now, actually, a guitar player would do this. would be what's in the bass line. So you can put those two both together if you really want to get fancy with it. These are examples of rhythmic accompaniment, and you're going to hopefully see more examples of what I'm doing. A lot of these songs you can simply play the bass line or the chord on the downbeat, like with what I do with things like this. You know, just playing the bass line is enough, actually, all the time. Hopefully this helps with the example videos that you watch. I'm going to give you more examples of playing in duo, and hopefully I'll even get out my little cello, kind of my fake cello, and show you a lot of different examples of how in the duo scenario you can be using bass style accompaniment or inner voice style accompaniment, or putting the two things together. And hopefully this is just going to give you just a little more of a background on those examples.